Hey, what is up everyone? I am Jewel here once again, and I'm back for some more of yet again for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Rayman Raving Rabbids 2 for the Nintendo Wii. So, last time we have managed to actually just to play through a lot of mini-games during the forms of well, to be more specifically in Asia, and also we did manage to actually play, 3 remaining mini-games, including the actual shooting range game. So as a result of that specific stuff, though, is the fact that we actually did that particular region not too bad. So today for this episode is the fact that we're about to be moving on to the 4th country in terms of the actual mini-games department, and this time around we're going to be hit on to South America. So as a result, we might hopefully try our best if we're able to grab some more, or to be more specifically, trying to unlock more costumes if possible, and especially noticeable, just try my best to actually get ourselves some more, high scores and anything else for that besides. So yeah, let's get this thing to it. So, few things I want to explain about this before we get this thing started is the fact that, oh yeah, before I get into that, the first minigame on here is Rodeo. So, ride the mechanical contraption. So, copy the movements shown on the game, and then you have to do a correct timing with the Wii remote. So, all sorts of movements here and there, and as you can see on screen, I've recently managed to change Rayman's costume into a rabbit costume. Similar to the likes of the original game, actually. So even then, I just want to classify that. And, yeah, because I totally forgot about that during the actual, the first, few parts with noting for it, just because, well, obviously, unlike the original game, that I think fundamentally speaking, actually, is the fact that since that Silver the Hedgehog has managed to did done the first game in the actual Rayman Raving Rabbids series, that he did obviously manage to change it to its different outfit every time in each day. However, though, I would not apply to this game this time around, because obviously, if you couldn't tell already, is the fact that this game only features 5 different trips, depending on what region we're going to be entering into. So even then though, because as a result of that specific stuff, there's not much else I can say, apart from the fact that in order to actually change, some different costumes between, Rayman, including the Rabbids as well. Basically, you can actually go to character customization mode, and that way you can actually change a different costume, depending if you're actually just trying to customize either Rayman or the rest of the Rabbids, essentially. So, because of that, though, it does give a lot of replayability, but, usually, relatively speaking, that's all I can really think about it. So, either way, though, yeah, I'm not exactly great at the rodeo kind of mini game like that, but regardless of anything else though, we did manage to get into 3rd place, as you can see, but yeah, as far as I can say about it. So anyways, let's type my name here, and of course we've only got about 7,204 points, so not much in comparison, but either way though, at least I did manage to try. So okay, Carol. So basically, draw at the right moment and shoot the rabbit. So point to the Wiimote downwards, and then keep still and wait when the rabbit's about to prepare to shoot. Then basically you have to point the Wiimote at the screen, and then press the B button until you're able to, what else? Trying to shoot the rabbit. So think of like the actual, it kind of reminds me of that particular game called Wild Gunman from the likes of the arcade machines, except the fact that this is on the Nintendo Wii, of course, so expecting to believe able to utilize the motion controls in theory. So yeah, as far as I can say about this, basically. So, well, apart from the fact that I'm pretty sure you only have to come across into 4 rounds, so yeah, let's get this thing to it. But if you somehow don't do this at the right moment, then otherwise you will able to actually not get any points. So, such as for instance right here. There's not much else we can usually talk about this minigame, obviously. It's just the fact of the matter is though, it's just a bit of a quick draw basically. So, self-explanatory if you want able to know what this minigame is all about. So, Alright, now it's about time to shoot him. But again, if you're too slow on that part, then you're probably not gonna able to get points either. So, something's worth mentioning. I suppose while this is going, the fact of the matter is though, is that recently today's day is of course the 28th of August today, in this case in 2020. We're getting very close towards the end in terms of August month so far, and then eventually, by the time until likely 4 days later, we will eventually approaching on to the 9th month of the year so far, which appears to be September. So as a result, I think we're able to actually expect to see about the fact that if something else new will happen. Although I would like to discuss upon new things, but I might actually have to wait until whenever we get into the very end of the month, which is specifically August, and then I will discuss about more details about, you know, any other things for that besides. So, and as you can see, we've now actually unlocked a new outfit for this Rabbid right there, based off on that particular, you know, that particular minigame that we've already played. So that's nice. Alright, so Fort Wars. Avoid being hit by obstacles. So basically we need to twist the Wii remote to steer yourself left and right, and same applies to up and down as well, so you know, you get the idea in terms of most early Wii games these days. So, and obviously because of how the fact that, as far as you can tell from the title, for this minigame, I think, yeah, most of these players are actually now starting to fart. So, probably due to the actual humor and stuff like that. So, but either way, basically this minigame here is the fact that we obviously need to avoid a lot of obstacles, because if you get hit by certain rocks or cactuses or anything like that, you lose points. So, yeah, something's worth to clarify. In fact, this minigame is actually kind of fun, I'm not gonna lie. Apart from the fact that if you're trying to able to bump into any other players, basically you wouldn't able to actually get yourselves a little bit of a knockback. But either way though, that's as far as I can usually think about this. And I think, fundamentally speaking, is the fact that, yeah, apart from the fact that I said this before already, is that today's day is of course the 28th of August today, in this case on Friday essentially, and seems to be more specifically that we almost nearly at the end of this game already. Sure, it's a bit shorter in comparison to the first game in the series, and especially notable, it usually just mostly includes Rabbids Go Home if you really want to count that, but it's more likely an action-adventure kind of game, rather than a minigame compilation unlike the previous three, including the actual Rabbids Travel in Time, which I no longer have just because, well, the thing is though, I just find that game to be uninspired in my opinion. Clearly it's because of how the fact that I usually just kind of prefer the first three games to be more specifically in my opinion, just because of how the fact that I can definitely tell why that most people seem to have a lot of nostalgia when it comes to the, well, no one near as much as nostalgia as the Rayman platforming games, but either way though, it's just a nice little distraction in terms of party games as far as I'm aware. But anyway, we actually unlock another costume right here, which is I think is actually based off from the swimming or something like that. But either way, let's move on to the next minigame here, Rolling Stone, and your goal is to simply just run. And shake the Wiimote up and down, Wiimote and nunchuck up and down, one after the other, to run. If you remember Indiana Jones, well, this is the actual minigame for you to reference by it. Because yeah, as you can tell from that little cinematic scene, that's basically this Indiana Jones kind of Rabbid right there is almost going to approach towards the, you know, that familiar statue treasure. And of course, if you're able to swap it over to our plunger, obviously you'll activate a trap. So yeah, basically it's based off from, you know, Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark, basically. So, there's gonna be a lot of running involved in here, even though I have to admit though right away, it's the fact that my nunchuck can always sometimes messes me up beyond belief. But when you get the hang of it, it might not be so bad, but unfortunately I don't think I can get my highest score on this particular minigame just because I'm pretty sure it's because of my nunchuck always have a lot of issues recently, so do apologize for that folks, but it's a nice little cool reference, something related to, you know, Indiana Jones, which is pretty common these days now, so yeah, you get the idea. Burritos, and basically we need to deliver the food to the customer on the other side. Basically, this minigame feels remarkably similar to the ones in the Europe minigame, except the biggest difference is this time around is that rather than delivering it to one customer specifically, we now need to deliver both of these customers depending on the actual different sites you want to go to. Such as, for instance, as you can tell for that cinematic scene, well, basically, that depending on what doors you're going to be able to entering into, basically, we're just going to have to able to go to the corresponding colors during the actual tables. Like, for instance, if we start the minigame off by simply able to start things off on the left door, this means I have to go traverse through the right side, as you can see, and that way I can able to get some points in the process. And same applies to that particular red door, or in this case a sushi door if I remember for the sake of time, even though the control scheme plays out exactly the same as the actual the ones in the European or the Europe minigame, that you know, with the actual delivering a burger and stuff like that. Except, as you can tell from this, the sake of clarity, is the fact that, as you can tell, that we actually going to be now traversing for those two different bridges, as you can see right there. One can take you a pretty long time to get all the way into, but the ones I definitely recommend is, of course, the one at the, you know, another bridge on that particular part right there, as you can see on screen. Because if you do manage to take the bottom bridge, basically it'll take you a very long time to able to actually get to the customer. But if you go into the top portion of the bridge, basically you would be able to actually just do this faster. So yeah, that's how it goes basically in terms of this minigame plays out to be, but even then now it plays pretty similar, but except the fact that unlike in the previous minigame that I seem to be pretty decent at it, but in this minigame not so much. I think it's clearly because of how the fact that sometimes that the motion controls can really mess my movements up sometimes. But that's my criticism I can think of for the sake of this minigame as a result, but either way though, we're just gonna have to deal with it anyway, so. And plus, if you do manage to able to lay the food, you know, to the other customer, well, basically you get some points if you manage to deliver the food while it's getting tossed or something. It's hard to explain about this sometimes, I have to admit though right away, just because, well, then again, it has been about, you know, donkey's years since I actually managed to play this for a very long time. Especially noticeable how the fact that because I'm used to playing any other games for sure, including some of these games for the Nintendo Switch for sure. In fact, kind of thinking about it though, is the fact that I've noticed in the Chinese version of the Nintendo Switch, is the fact that they obviously got their own Rabbids party game on the Chinese Nintendo Switch, which I didn't see that coming, but either way though, I think I've heard of that before, since about almost like a couple of days ago or something. So, but either way, now let's move on to the next musical performance, and this time around, we are playing through Celebration, which, kind of think about it, is actually pretty cool music, I'm not gonna lie. Especially noticeable if you really want to celebrate your birthday parties or Christmas celebrations, even though despite the fact that we're not exactly at Christmas just yet, until specifically about 4 months time, mind you, and also the subscribers counts, and also you know, just the amount of views you're going to be getting for celebrating, and also how much purchases of how many well, it's hard to explain about the actual celebration stuff sometimes because, well, relatively speaking, it's the fact that I haven't exactly, well, noticing for this fact. So, but either way though, that's how it goes basically. So, something's worth mentioning for this point as well is the fact that, you know how the fact that recently, yesterday, is the fact that recently Sonic the Hedgehog has recently finished up with his Let's Play of SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom recently, yesterday. So even then though, kudos to him as soon as he able to actually accomplish the 100% completion on that particular version of that particular game. Or to be more specifically, the original game, specifically on the PlayStation 2, and the GameCube version, and the Xbox version, and pretty much everything else for that besides, basically. So even then though, yeah. That's as far as I can try and able to discuss on this fact. So, but either way though, as you can tell from the sake of time, it's the fact that we're now going to be able to select the microphone instrument, because I don't think we actually used that during the previous 3 song musical performance. So, but even then though, we're actually getting very close towards the end of this this particular Let's Play, which I said this before already, because, well, obviously this game already contains 5 minigame trips, which, unlike the, the PC version does manage to contain 4 different categories based off on the random minigames that you're going to be obviously trying to play through. So because of that though, I can definitely see why that the PC version doesn't have that much minigames compared to the Wii version, just because of the limitations of the PC controls, or maybe it's because of the lack of motion controls involved, but usually, relatively speaking, that's all I can really just try to discuss upon that fact. So, but you know, you get the idea about little topics like that, so even then though, that's all I can usually just try to say about this here. Oh yeah, apart from the fact that next week, actually, is the fact that we might able to get ourselves the release of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 plus 2 for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, and during at some point next week. So even then though, and because of that though, I am so excited to able to actually finally get to experience the first 2 brilliant Tony Hawk's Pro Skater games on the PlayStation 4 current generation of consoles, which, again, I was originally trying to get the Dreamcast version of those 2 games basically, but unfortunately though, for whatever reason, is that my Dreamcast never seemed to like reading most of those games anyway. Well, it only reads just fine on most games, what I still managed to go. Like, it still reads just fine on my 3 Sonic the Hedgehog games, Sonic Adventure 2, and Sonic Shuffle, and especially notable as 2 other games like Rayman 2 The Great Escape, and even Soul Calibur the original game. So, I'm still might able to try to consider getting Soul Calibur 3 at some point in the future, and especially noticeable with Soul Calibur on the PSP, and that's as far as I can try to able to confess by this fact. So, anyway, so we're pretty much done with the celebration musical performance, and I think we actually did that pretty good. So even then though, we did manage to once again get into first place in the actual leaderboard. So, yeah, that's just how I can think about it. And unfortunately, I don't think we can able to get into #1 top spot on that particular trip. But whatever, at least we got that particular costume at least. So, but either way though, of course we're not exactly done with that particular South America selections of minigames just yet though, because, well, you know, we still need to able to show off some of these remaining minigames that we have not seen yet. So let's go for, as you can see on screen, we did manage to customize ourselves those 2 Rabbids right there. One of them is actually based off from Assassin's Creed, which, if you've heard of that particular game series before, I have heard of that, but I've never actually played any of those things, because, for whatever reason, it's the fact that I just didn't have that much time to able to actually look upon. So anyways though, the first minigame that we have not seen yet, and that is Timber! So basically, we're just gonna have to able to, well, just trying to sort out the branch. So basically, we have to just, you know, trying to able to actually just do that, shake the Wii remote up and down to soar, and the large movements, the most effective. So, yeah, that's how it goes basically. And it's also kind of cool is the fact that because of how the fact that, as you can see on screen, that this particular Rabbid I'm playing as, which is actually based off from, you know, Assassin's Creed, because, you know, Assassin's Creed was also part of the Ubisoft kind of, you know, video game company, which is actually pretty cool. It's able to actually have ourselves a little bit of a cool collaboration of certain things. So, especially noticeable, you know what that particular shooting range kind of minigame that, you know, with the Year of the Rabbit shooting range game? And basically one of those rabbits is actually, for whatever reason, they just managed to wear one of those costumes based off from Capcom's Street Fighter, which appears to be Ken himself. Which, even then, I found was a little bit weird at first. But, hey, at least we'll come across into some other familiar outfits from specific franchises until later on. And as you can see on screen, unfortunately, we didn't get the high score on the #1 spot, just because I just think that my motion responsiveness didn't exactly work well enough too much. But, oh well, it's not the end of the world, honestly. Bumper cars. Bump the other cars. So basically, we just have to just tilt the Wiimotes left and right to turn, and obviously press the 2 button to move forwards, or to be more specifically, accelerate. So, actually, gonna think about it is the fact that this particular minigame, that before we're able to get this minigame started, basically, this kind of reminds me of one of those minigames in, specifically Mario Party Island Tour, that one of them you have to able to actually just to shove up your players on top of that particular bumper car amusement park or something like that. And also, this kind of reminds me of Bumper Balls a little bit, from the likes of Mario Party 2, and Mario Party The Top 100, except the fact that the biggest difference is obviously we have to just use, you know, mobility cars or something like that, which even now that might be seems the case. And, well, I don't know if I can usually compare that, honestly, but either way though, we'll just try to able to rank up some points. And by the way, to get points in this minigames, that you have to shove over those players, including you can able to actually just to push them off to the cliff, as you can see, so that way you can get yourselves even more points if you manage to do that. However, if you do fall off though, is the fact that luckily you don't actually lose points if you manage to fall off, so you can just simply just lose about 2 seconds respawn time, like 1 and 2, and I think that's actually 3 seconds of respawn time, so I guess that makes it a little bit obvious for that specific times and stuff like that, so yeah, anyway, let's just go ahead and just, you know, keep ranking up more points, and I think we actually might able to get ourselves our new costume after when this minigame is actually finished, so yeah, kudos to that. And eventually at this point, it's the fact that once we're done with this though, it's the fact that I'm pretty sure we might able to come across into probably the most longest shooting range games in the entire game, which again we'll discuss more about it until eventually whenever we get onto that specific shooting range kind of game like that. So anyways, we've actually unlocked this particular outfit, which is kind of thing about it, it's actually very similar to the ones that we've already done the Year of the Rabbids shooting range, which even then is one of those, you know, the actual cool, I don't know how do I explain that. Anyways, the last minigame that we have not shown off in terms of South America selections of minigames, and that's what appears to be yummy butterflies, and basically we have to swallow those butterflies. So this one actually requires the nunchuck for this one, so use the control stick to move, hold the A button to open your mouth and swallow butterflies in the process, and that way you can get some points from there. And shake the Wiimote to hit the your opponents with your net and make the Rabbids spit out even more butterflies. So yeah, that's how it goes basically. I think this is one of those minigames that does make it appeared in the PC version if I recall correctly. So yeah, that's how it goes basically. This minigame reminds me of so much of Banana. No, I have no idea why I say banana all of a sudden because I keep thinking of Super Monkey Ball and stuff. But anyway, this minigame reminds me of so much of Butterfly Blitz from Mario Party 4, except the biggest difference is the fact that rather than catching the butterflies, instead we have to eat up, you know, butterflies, which, kind of think about it, it looks kind of like, I don't know, how do I explain that? And also, this minigame sort of feels a bit similar to one of those minigames in Sonic and the Secret Rings in the party mode. That basically, what that particular thing involved is the fact that basically we have to create a bubble in order to be able to catch those butterflies, which is a little bit weird to able to do that. Although, kind of thinking about it though, is the fact that whenever they did manage to trap inside the bubble or drip or something like that, it always reminds me of that particular movie Ants, where basically Z managed to get trapped inside the one of those drip up bubbles, and then Bowler has to figure out how to get him out. So that's how you usually can think about that reference or something, even though I may be wrong about that particular stuff though, I have to be honest here. So okay, come on, I just need to get some couple of more points. Hopefully I can get some more high scores from here. Although, depending on the actual butterfly movements, that sometimes... Ah, shoot! I was so close to able to actually get into the top 1 in the actual, well, high scores board. Oh well, beggars selves can be choosers, even though I might able to actually just to try this again on my own time, hopefully. So either way though, I think that's every single mini-games in terms of, South America. So I think we are now moving on to the next shooting range kind of mini-games. And of course, we've only got about one more mini-game left that we can able to hopefully try to unlock at some point in next Monday. But not now though, because we are now moving on to Greatest Hits. Which, as I said before, this is without a doubt is one of the longest shooting range stages in the whole entire game. Just because, well, it's more likely a combination of both. Let's just say you travel to USA as well as China or Asia at the same time, which I'm guessing that's probably the case because, well, for starters, I think you might able to actually just trying to start things up with China first of all, or in this case Asia first of all, because of that familiar China houses or anything like that. So, but either way though, oh, there's something rare. Basically, if you do manage to able to found, if you come across into yourselves a right rabbit, basically, I think you might able to actually unlock another one of those costumes in particular. So, hopefully we're able to see what happens until when this particular shooting range will be finished. So, expecting to believe that this might able to take me about 10 minutes or something like that, depending if my depth perception doesn't go completely screwy over. Especially noticeable that because of the fact that the in-game graphics just managed to able to pop up during the actual realistic settings. So because of that though, it might take a while to get used to. So, however though, what if we get onto Rayman Raving Rabbids TV Party, that it might be a little bit similar, except the fact that it might able to act out pretty differently, which we'll get to that more about it until later. Well, to be more specifically until next year, just because we really want to get these Let's Plays finished and done. Well, to be more specifically, while, eventually at some form or another, is the fact that Piglet might able to go back into Yoshi's Crafted World at some point next Tuesday, and then eventually we might able to do the next new Let's Play next Wednesday, as far as I usually like to call it that. And eventually, until when it gets to the point although definitely needs to get back into Mario Party, until to be more specifically, this weekend, which I think the next board he's going to be hop into is, of course, the 5th board in the game, which is perhaps one of the worst boards in the game, which I'm sure definitely will explain more about it whenever he gets onto that particular board, during at some point in tomorrow and Sunday, essentially at the same time as well. So, God knows if he may able to win that though, but even then we'll have to wait and see what happens there, enjoying that some form or another. So, anyway, so let's keep on shooting down some more rabbits, including some more of those airships, as you can see on screen. And hopefully we can able to rank up some more points in the process there too. So, but either way though, that's all I can really just trying to discuss on this fact. So, I suppose another thing I should probably explain about this is, for this point as well, is that, I said this before already, is the fact that we did manage to get ourselves our physical version of New Super Luigi U already. And let me tell you, I think I should probably not going to be playing that physical version just yet, because obviously we accidentally managed to able to download the game as in DLC downloadable version. However, what I'm going to do is the fact that I might as well able to keep it not used as it is, just because of our fact that imagine if my Wii U will screw me over again in terms of likely for corrupted save data or something like that. And then basically, it's the fact that imagine if, the Wii U eShop will be closed by that time in the future, because of how the fact that if I didn't actually access to New Super Luigi U on the DLC downloadable version, then I can just simply just manage to able to play the physical version, while the Wii U eShop, application will be about to be closed by then. So, well, at least until at some point in the future, depending if they're moving on to the next new Nintendo console at some point in the future. Well, it depends really, just because of the stupid pandemic, but either way, that's how it goes basically. Even though they're not gonna do a new Nintendo console for this year, just because obviously the PlayStation 5 and even the Xbox Series X will be on its way, and during at some point by the end of the year. even though despite the fact that unfortunately for Halo fans out there, that Halo Infinite sadly will be delayed until next year, it's clearly because of multiple things. Like for one, basically they need to able to get a lot more working in time when it comes to likely just trying to able to do some brilliant visuals flow, sort of understand it. And also, once again, is that the pandemic is causing a delay. So even though that's... Yeah, I can definitely see why that most people found 2020 to be one of the dumbest and is the most lackluster year of the whole entire world at the moment. Even though the only good thing about the year, though, is of course the Sonic the Hedgehog movie, which I can assure to that because I actually really enjoyed the film so much. Even though some people might not find it enjoyable, which is entirely down to our own opinions. I sure have my opinions as well, and I'm sure most people seem to have already have some own opinions as well, which is very understandable if there's some different interests out there. But you get the idea for that point. So it looks like we're now slowly approaching towards the end. It's just a matter of the fact that we have to come across into a lot more series of Rabbids, as you can see. And I think fundamentally speaking is the fact that well, we've already technically done the previous 3 boss battles as far as I'm aware, and then basically for that sake of time, that well, I just don't know how do I think about it. So yeah, as I mentioned this before already, it's the fact that this is more likely a combination of, for the sake of greatest hits shooting range level, it's like a combination of both Asia from the very beginning, and the majority of USA from the majority of the shooting range level, just because obviously we've recognized this location for about quite also times, but even then, no, that's how I can usually just try and describe about this. Ah, shoot, I missed that super rapid right there. Oh well, we're just gonna have to leave it, I suppose. Oh, sweet, we got ourselves a power-up. So I think we should probably just do some rapid shooting for that. Oh, jeez, that frame rate, man. It just chugs every time when there's like too much stuff on screen. At least unlike the original game, that it runs just okay. But either way, though, that's how I can usually just try to able to. Or is it just me, or so I'm just too much for nitpicking right there. So yeah, I think I'm probably just nitpicking too much. I think I have to be honest here. So anyway, so we come towards for this bit right here, and I think true enough is that we might come across into a boss fight right now. So in this case, it appears to be that particular submarine, which I don't know if it's just like the exact same submarine as we saw from the likes of the original game somehow, or maybe I may be wrong, just because of how the fact that maybe I keep thinking about the original game more than this is, because, well, I just haven't really touched upon this game for a very long time now, especially noticeable it's been about, you know, since a decade ago since last time I played this, so I'm guessing that might be true. But either way though, we'll just go ahead and just take down the yellow submarine as much as possible. Or that Rabbids submarine, as far as I like to call it that. And yeah, much like the USA shooting range kind of game, is the fact that once again we have to rely on the missiles in order to able to deal the attack. And that way you would be able to actually deal the damage on our particular machine contraption. So, and similar to the ones in the original game as well, don't forget. So, but either way though, I think he's basically done. Oh wait, there's actually more to it than that, because obviously there's going to be now spawning a lot of Rabbids on screen, so as a result, we might able to actually be a little bit more slightly faster if we're able to shoot them down a little bit more faster and quick. But you know. Alright, so let's go ahead and destroy that, and hopefully we should able to rank up more points. And hopefully we might able to get ourselves our new costume, depending if how well I'm going to be doing. Well, it depends really, but either way we'll just keep an eye on the missile, and well, I think he might be done, right? Oh, wait a minute, he's actually not done yet, because basically he has two faces, I should say. The first phase is pretty obvious, is the fact that he just got into the actual the submarine form. And basically, on the second phase, he's now transforming into, well, some sort of the robotic version of the Rabbid formation of himself. And basically, usually relatively speaking, is the fact that I'm pretty sure you need to reflect the actual plunger attack back in order to actually not to lose points. Although then again, the only biggest difference is between the first game and this is that you no longer have to worry about the actual health system, so that seems pretty obvious, right, for the actual sequel for that matter. But it also makes things a little bit too easy when it comes to shooting range stuff in mind. Oh yeah, we still need to keep an eye on the actual missiles and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure this particular boss does manage to contain 3 health each phases, I'm presuming. But either way though, I think you actually lose about 100 points if you do manage to get hit by any other enemies attacks. So I'm guessing for this much though, really. And I do apologize for the actual commentary for the sake of points, guys, because even then I almost felt very tired, even though no one knows as much as the forms of any other days in the past. Clearly it's because of how the fact that, well, it's just the fact of the matter is though, is that, oh man, our bed at the moment right now is so comfortable. But again, I'm just a little bit too much of a convenience, that is. But either way, we'll just go ahead and deal with this last shot from here, and soon enough, he's pretty much done, and he will be toasted by then. Dang, was that a very long shooting range kind of stage? Until whenever we get onto the true finale of this Let's Play, that we might able to come across into the shortest shooting range kind of stage, which we'll discuss more about it. Until whenever I said this before, until when it gets to likely next Monday, in this case the very final day of the month specifically, and it looks like the graphical footage just managed to glitch up all of a sudden. Well, not my capture card, luckily. It's just the amount of the video FMV sequences just managed to able to glitch upon itself. So anyways, we actually got ourselves this costume here, which you need to acquire the right Rabbid for. Oh, that particular outfit feels familiar. It appears to be similar to the ones in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which is pretty cool though. And look at that, we got a trophy, so why couldn't these 3 have trophies? Anyway, we'll end things off at this point right here, so join me next time on Let's Play Rayman Raving Rabbids 2. We're going to be heading off through to the final selections of minigames in Tropics, so I'll see you guys on next Monday. Later, fellas.